You're too right. Look, if you let them change you, then they've won.
They've won already, haven't they? And they will keep winning because that's just how the world is now. And nobody cares about right or wrong. You just have to look out for yourself and take what you can get. Well, so be it, all right? Do you know what? I am so sick of being the statue. From now on, I'm going to be the pigeon.
Talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
Hello and welcome to episode 414 of the Talk of the Street, an unofficial Coronation Street catch podcast that can't think of a better way to celebrate being married for 14 years. 14 years, by the way, is the conclusion to Totally Believable Court Proceedings anniversary. I'm Gavin.
And I have a tree in my backyard.
We have several trees in our backyard. One of them's a bit horizontal, though.
Well, half of it's horizontal, yes. We have a tree that decided to come down and say hello. It dropped in unexpectedly.
I think, we could easily just give a false estimate, but this is a fucking enormous bit of a tree that if it had hit our house,
we'd be fucked.
We'd have no house.
Well, we would not be sitting where we are now. I will tell you that much.
No, this happened like within the last hour where a storm rolled through.
Yes, well, we were having a romantic dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating the elephant anniversary.
Now we're having a romantic podcast.
Yes. That's how much we love you, dear listeners. It's our anniversary, and we're doing a podcast.
Oh, I'm going to have to phone a tree guy.
Yeah, and before the storm, it was impossible to get a tree guy to come and look at our trees. Because it's funny, because that's not the tree that I worry about. It's that one that I worry about.
I was always a little worried by that tree because it was so tall.
Yeah.
It's not quite so tall anymore, though.
But it's always looked so healthy. Whereas that one in the front yard has, like, dead branches on it.
I hate trees. Can I just say that? I hate trees.
I love trees. Trees are good. Trees are why we can breathe.
Trees in your yard are just a worry. A constant worry.
And yet they also give you shade when it's 105 degrees.
Ugh.
And the power goes out, so you have to drive to Lansing to watch the Minions movie.
It's a very particular chain of events that you're describing here.
Yes. Yes, because it has been very hot in here, but not today, so we are fully clothed.
It was 88 degrees in this office when I was trying to work, and I was explaining to people just how hot it was. Like, oh dear God, Gav, get some AC. We do have AC, just not in this room.
Right, yeah, because the majority of the windows in this house cannot fit an air conditioner.
No.
And as it is, the one air conditioner we have, somebody cut a hole in the wall to put it in.
That person was not me.
No, it was before we moved in. But yes, most of our windows aren't the ones that slide up. So you could put an air conditioner in. They open like doors. I'm sure all of this is very fascinating.
I doubt it.
For whoever's listening.
Hell, and even I stopped listening about 2 minutes ago. Shall we preamble, my dear?
But we are safe and loved. Yes, please.
Give us some of that arboreal Corrie news.
Is arboreal a word?
I don't know.
Congrats to Jack and Honey as baby Constance has arrived, healthy and beautiful.
Didn't that happen last week?
No. Last week it was Jack P. Shepherd is taking time off from work because Honey is due very soon.
Gotcha.
So, thank you, Jack and Honey, for giving me Corrie news 2 weeks in a row. I appreciate it. We are heartbroken to hear that Molly Gallagher is leaving the show for a life on the stage playing Clarice in the theatrical production of The Silence of the Lambs.
Well, that's interesting.
I feel like she is going to do very well in that role. I feel like that's a good role for her.
Yeah, this has been I think, on the cards for a while.
Yeah.
Someone had said it's been 7 years since Seb died.
She's been on the show for 7 years.
All right. Okay, so she's been on the show for 7 years, but it's been a number of years since Seb died.
Yeah, because didn't he die pre-COVID?
Time doesn't make any sense anymore.
That's true.
But it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And she hasn't really had very much to do apart from running down a small embankment and falling into a river.
Right, yes. And kissing Asha, only not really.
So it's always going to be, I think, maybe not the first chance that the first big opportunity that presents itself. Why wouldn't she? Someone described her as a glorified extra, and I wouldn't go quite that far, but there have been weeks and months where she's had very little to do.
Right, besides hand somebody a coffee.
Yeah, and say something pithy.
She's basically Alex.
Yeah.
In many ways.
I really like Molly Gallagher. I
Me
like
too.
what she does. I think she's going to be missed because she was a fairly unique character in terms of her appearance and her demeanour and her relationship with Roy.
Yes.
So I think she's going to be quite severely missed.
I will miss her severely.
Yep.
But I also think that there are big things in her future.
Yeah.
Because she's a great actor.
And the Silence of the Lambs, ! The musical or
Electric
whatever,
Boogaloo.
is probably a good start to that.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Yes. And finally, our thoughts are with the family of Michael Byrne, who played Gail's dad, Ted Page, who has died at the age of 82.
Oh, we liked Gay Ted.
We did. We did like Gay Ted.
Such a shame.
Yeah. They love to kill Teds on the show.
I don't think he's been in the show since, was it 2010, I think, the last time he was in it?
Yes.
And he's had such an effect and is remembered so fondly.
Yes.
He really was a great character.
Uh-huh.
He had sex with Audrey, never recovered.
Right, yes. And it turned him gay.
Yep. But yeah, that's a wee shame for Michael Byrne and his family. 82.
Yes. 82. That's a good healthy age. I mean, it's no David Attenborough and Dick
No.
Van Dyke and Mel Brooks, but, not everybody can be Dick Van Dyke and Mel Brooks and David Attenborough.
What a prolific career he had.
Oh, absolutely.
He also played Colonel Ernest Vogel in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
He was Smythe in Braveheart.
Yes.
And he was Grindelwald in that Harry Potter movie.
Yeah. Well, in multiple Harry Potter movies, wasn't he?
No, just no one, I think.
Oh.
I don't think Grindelwald was in any of the other ones before Deathly Hallows.
He was the wand guy, wasn't he?
No,
Isn't
that's
Grindelwald?
Ollivander.
Oh, okay.
Look at me with my Harry Potter knowledge.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of it.
And that's Corrie News.
That's Corrie. Well, apart from the Jack P. Shepherd news,
It's sad.
it's a
Corrie
little
News.
sad Corrie news.
Yes.
But we will endeavour to put a smile on everyone's face as we transition into the feedback section that I like to call Everyone's a Critic. Sarah writes, still listening now to this week's podcast, laughing at the cartoon cat thing. Does this help? And she sends a link to... Do you know Henry's Cat?
No.
You must have seen the movie though, Helen. You've got to have read the book. He's a mellow yellow feline, and you are encouraged to take a second look. It looks like he was drawn by a 6-year-old-ish.
He looks like the bully wombat from Arthur.
Maybe that's what they based it on. Henry's Cat was quite big in the UK
Yeah.
for a while.
He never made it across the Atlantic, sadly.
And then we went outdoors and we never looked back.
Right, yes. We have enough famous orange felines of our own over here. We have Garfield and we have Heathcliff.
What was the cartoon cat thing that we were talking about anyway?
I don't remember.
I remember talking about it.
Were we talking about Top Cat again?
No.
'Cause Top Cat comes up all the time.
That's what we usually talk about.
Just like the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
When we're not talking about Coronation Street on this podcast, we're typically talking about either Teenage Mutant Ninja / Hero Turtles. Or Top Cat.
What was Top Cat called in the UK?
Boss Cat.
Boss Cat, and yet they kept the same themed song.
Yeah, and when anybody called them TC, I just thought, oh, Americans don't know how to spell boss. Then Dead Dear David writes, Dear Thingamajig and what's his name, with the World Cup, I am all over the place, what with watching so many matches and trying to keep up with Corrie, when no one ever seems to know if and when it's on. My brain is a football, and an addled one at that. So can you clarify something for me? Is it right that Sam can't go home because Leanne got her hole? Yes. That's right. I'm not sure how sections work in the UK, so this is an interesting insight. Thanks so much for everything, and que viva Mexico.
Si, senor.
Dos cerveza, por favor. I am Switzerland in all this. Not that I'm supporting Switzerland.
Is Switzerland even in it anymore? Or were they even in it?
They were in it, yes. They were in Canada's group.
Oh, okay. Well, it's Canada.
Thank you to Dead Dear David and to Sarah for the feedback this week. It's always welcome. Send us your thoughts and I'll probably read them out. Get us at the talk of the street at gmail.com, where our DMs are open at Corrie Podcast. So we love it when people write actual letters to us. Send us your proper mail to the Talk of the Street, PO Box 12, Ian Rapids, Michigan, 48827. And please note that we reserve the right to edit feedback, but only in the interest of brevity. And I'm going to remember Soap Week earlier this week than I did last week. Soap Week starts on Monday. Lots of fun activities across the week. Go to soap-week.com for more information and look out for a little awkward guest appearance from yours truly and
Shaggy Chin.
And Shaggy Chin.
How did I get Shaggy's chin?
45 minutes of sitting reading into a camera has produced 90 seconds of adequate video. I think we'll all agree. And thank you again to our friends at Conversation Street, to Gemma and Michael for organising this. This is a great bit of fun for the international soap community to come together, celebrate, and talk about what makes soap so great for all of us. It's a good thing.
Yes.
And now we'll podcast for coffee. Buying our own coffees this week.
How dare you people? We have a tree in our yard.
And I have trimmed, like a tree, our Friends of the Podcast list. Something that I like to do every 6 months or so. Because people come and go. People are friends of the podcast, and they have to drop out for whatever reason. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. We are always grateful, no matter what that tenure looks like as a friend of the podcast. And in some levels, you will always be a friend of the podcast.
Yeah, we know it's hard out there.
But we lost a couple of friends over the last 6 months, and it's only right that when we're thanking people at the end of the show and in the YouTube, that it's a reasonably up-to-date list.
Correct.
So I've taken my pruning shears and excised a couple of names, which means that I maybe don't have to take quite so many breaths.
Well, that's good.
But if you would like to join our merry band of friends of the podcast, then by all means head to corriepodcast.com, have a look for the support the pod link, and then friend of the podcast, because for $2 a month you can get access to our weekly spoiler show, the Talk of the Street Spoiler Alert, and a monthly classic Corrie show, the Talk of the Street Classics. And for the month of July, we're talking about episode 1434 from October 14, 1974. This is ladies going to Mallorca on a little hollybob.
Yes.
I said I was never going to say that again.
And then you did.
Damn it.
You've said it since you've said it at least once in between the time you said you'd never say it again.
The only time that I remember saying it again is when someone bought us a coffee and their name was Holly Bob.
That counts.
Yeah, sadly. It's a great episode, and we had a lot of fun talking about that.
Yeah.
It's part of a two-parter. For August, we'll be talking about the second episode in that brace, and I'm looking forward to that as well. So yeah, sign up to be a friend of the podcast there. You're more than welcome. You also get access to our Discord server and a shout out at the end of every podcast and your name on the credits of the flagship show. And if you prefer something a little less formal, you can always buy us next week's coffee by clicking Buy Us a Coffee. And remember, you can always support the podcast for free and get us in front of new listeners by liking, subscribing, rating and reviewing wherever you get your podcasts, as Argentina take the lead against Cape Verde.
Boo! Boo!
Do you know, we're all Cape Verde.
We are all Cape Verde. They're the smallest country to ever be in the World Cup. Or at least the smallest country in this World Cup. And they scored against Argentina, which, good for them.
Did it?
Good for them. Argentina won it last time. It's somebody else's turn.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
It is
Anyway,
in my book.
Shall
Besides,
we
France is
dive
gonna
in,
take it.
my dear?
My money's on France. Yes, please.
Our first storyline this week is Meet the Driscolls.
Meet the Driscolls.
We're talking about the big one first.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what this week was, isn't it? More or less.
Yeah, there was quite a bit that was elsewhere, and
Yeah.
it got super confusing towards the end.
Yes, especially since YouTube played Fridays before Thursday for me this week.
See, I think you should notice that. I think you should notice that. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I was watching it and I was like, wait a minute. You mean we don't get to see Will's huge testimony? That doesn't seem right. And why is Leanne mad at Idris? That doesn't seem right.
So, you've been watching it in a kind of Pulp Fiction type way? Start in the middle,
Just
jump about.
Thursday and Friday.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this
And that's
started.
YouTube's fault.
Remember, this week started on Tuesday.
Which is also very confusing.
And rather than doing one episode of 44 minutes, they did two separate episodes of
Yes.
22 minutes.
Part 1 and part 2.
They haven't done that before.
Well,
When they've been doing it this way in the World
Right,
Cup.
yes.
Before you jump on me to disagree.
yeah, they did it like this in the 60s all the time.
In the 60s?
Part 1 and part 2. Yeah. It was the end part 1 and then
Oh,
they
not
start
that
part
part
2.
1, part 2. Not the part 1, part 2 of a 22-minute episode.
Right, yeah, but
Because
still.
you always get part 1, part 2 in that. You always get that. But they've done a part 1 of a 22-minute episode, and then they've done another 22-minute episode. So there's a part 1 and a part 2, and then a part 1 and a part 2. And normally they would just chunk all that together, do a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4.
Right, yes, but they don't ever label it part 1, 2, 3, or 4.
I'm almost wishing that you were talking about the tree. All right, we'll move on.
It's a big half a tree.
We'll move on and start on Tuesday, where a weird woman comes into the Rovers and seems to get spooked when Ben asks her what she wants to drink, and she quickly hightails it out. And for reasons not entirely clear, Maggie goes to see if she's okay, because that's the sort of thing that Maggie does. And she brings her back in. The weird woman seems a bit too interested in the Driscoll family and starts to ask a bit too many questions about Will in particular. Ben tells her that she needs to mind her own fucking business. And then she reveals that she is Megan's mum, and I can't remember what her name was. Was it Janine? Something like that.
Something like that.
We need another J name. She apologises on behalf of Megan and wants to see Will so she can do the same, but you're no
not
chance,
getting
hen.
anywhere close to that kid.
She's chased out of the Rovers by the Driscolls with pitchforks, and she retreats round the corner to Megan's car, where Megan is super pissed off that her mum didn't get to speak to Will, and she accuses her mother not even trying. I'm going to
Fuck you, Megan.
I know, she's so awful to her mum.
I know.
I'm going to go to prison here for a stupid mistake, she says, and this seems to be the first time that she's admitted that something actually went on to her mum.
Right.
Who is shocked by this, I tell you. Megan calls it a mistake and says that Will wore her down, but not like that. Well, maybe a bit like that. Back in the Rovers, Ben has decided to keep stum about Megan's mum's visit, which strikes Ollie as being rather stupid considering how secrets have rocked the family recently. But Ben sticks to his guns and says that it's my family, it's my decision. But then tells Will about Megan's mum anyway. And Will, actually, he appreciates the honesty.
Right, yeah. It's like, oh, this is good. This is good, actually. And then as the second Will leaves the room, Ben's like, oh, I still don't agree with this. I still don't think we should have told him. And it's like, did you not just see how much your kid appreciated the honesty? And how honesty with kids is good, actually, even when it's hard. A lesson that another father on the show will also have to learn at some point this week.
You might have figured that if Megan's mum's on the scene. Megan might also be on the scene.
Right.
And it might be an idea to keep Will up to date with that just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's just as well that Will appreciates honesty, because outside later, Will literally runs into Megan's mum. She introduces herself, apologises, but then makes a case for Megan actually loving Will, and a couple of lines that just shocked me.
It's terrible.
She says that Megan must have cared very deeply about Will to take such a risk by fucking a child.
That's gross.
No, she said that out loud.
She did.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Back home afterwards, Will overhears Ben talking privately to Eva Cakes and saying that he fears the case will be Megan's word against Will's. It's the next day, and it's the day of the trial, and Ollie is worried that Will is dressed like an accountant. Maggie asks if Ollie would prefer that Will looked like a rent boy, which was a strange leap.
Yes.
Would you have preferred that Will was dressed like a male prostitute? A young male prostitute? Would that make you happy, Ollie?
Is this an appropriate thing?
I just didn't want to be dressed like an accountant.
And is this an appropriate thing to say about your grandson who was groomed by an older woman, essentially raped by an older woman? You're gonna mention young male prostitutes in this same conversation, Maggie. What is wrong with you? She had some of the weirdest lines this week.
She gets another one because then she says, by the end of the day, that evil bitch will be in prison.
She said bitch!
And then she says, I don't mean you, talking to Melanie, who is sitting right there.
Yes!
This is a woman who apparently goes out and chases after a woman who looks upset and brings her back in and gives her free brandy. This woman?
Yeah.
This woman.
I'm actually quite shocked that she did that. I was like, Maggie actually did something nice?
That's what I said at the time.
Yeah. No, and I'm agreeing with you, and I agree with you at the time. But I'm just, it still just feels like they didn't know how to write Maggie this week.
They've all got more than enough on their plates to be worried about why some weird woman looks slightly upset. Some woman that they don't know.
Yeah, and who seems nervous to be there. That should have been a clue that maybe you don't chase this woman down, actually.
So Maggie becomes slightly more normal when she gives Will a lucky penny or something, but Will immediately gives it to Susie for a show and tell. And maybe he should have held on to that lucky penny, because at the court, the ancillary Driscolls file into the gallery with Daniel as Megan is led in and pelted with cabbages. Ben is with Will in the waiting area, and Ben tells Will an oddly familiar story about getting stuck on a lilo on vacation when he was a teenager in Sunburn, and it was the worst pain that he's ever experienced. Why is that strangely familiar, Helen?
Because he has said it before.
He hasn't said it before.
He hasn't?
No.
Who said it?
That's great. That's what we need now is fireworks.
Yes. Yes. With lots of, dead trees.
Stop talking about trees.
With lots of dead trees around. That's what you want. Fire. Oh, geez.
No, Ben hasn't mentioned this story before. I've mentioned this story before when this happened to me.
Have the show's writers been stealing from you again?
This is my experience. This happened to me. And I've said it. I've talked about it on the as Cape Verde Equalise again.
Nice.
I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I was in Mallorca. I was on a lilo.
Yes, we talked about...
I was out. We didn't talk about it in the classics.
I thought we did talk about the lilo in the classics.
We talked about a lilo. We didn't talk about this lilo.
Oh, okay.
I was lying out in the lilo.
How many lilos have you laid out in?
More than I care to mention, but this one I remember because I stuck to it. So my bare skin...
It's stuck to the plastic.
Stuck to the plastic of the lilo. I come back to the shore, I sit up, and it tears the skin off my back. My mum goes, oh, look, your back's all red. Put a t-shirt on. So I put a t-shirt on, and then the t-shirt sticks to the raw skin that is now suddenly exposed that's on my back.
Yes.
So when I go and take that off, it's like, ah. And she says, best to do this quickly.
Rips
it off.
Sounds like your mum.
For years I had scars across my back from that horrible, horrible incident that Ben Driscoll has stolen as his own.
This is almost as bad as when they stole the hole in the earth from you.
Yeah, the sinkhole did have
The
Scottish Book of the Dead.
Written all over it.
Yeah, it did.
Yes.
It did.
Especially when people started throwing things into it.
I'm choosing to accept that now that the Malilo story has made it onto Coronation Street.
Seriously, between that and not giving us credit for London, they owe us a check.
See if Ben tells a story next week about a time where he shot himself when he was 14 coming home from a bike ride.
Or he talks about how his granny used to scrub his ass in front of the television.
Yeah, anyway. Soon enough, Will is called and Ben wishes him luck. He's already had the video evidence shown and he's answering the questions from his barrister quite well. He was admitting that he was happy that the relationship had become sexual and how he was jealous of Daniel, and his barrister asks how he feels about Megan now. And he takes a look at her in the dock and he panics and he says, look, I made all of this up. Megan was only a varieties coach and never did anything wrong. Megan is cock-a-hoop about this while the lofty Driscolls hang their heads. For some reason Ben wasn't in the court to hear any of this, so he's taken by surprise when Will apologises to him and the judge sends the jury home.
Yeah, he's like hugging Will and telling him how proud he is of him and everything, and then everybody else comes in and shouts at him.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben's like, why, what happened? And nobody tells him.
No, it takes ages. He even wonders what happens now, and according to the barrister, this is all up in the air. Adam is not too happy with these developments either, which Megan spots, and she reminds him that she's his client and he's supposed to be on her side. He tells her that she can't pretend that this whole thing isn't complicated. Back in the pub, the Driscolls are licking their wounds when Daniel does his best to make Will feel bad, when an unwelcome Adam comes in and tells Ben and Eva that Will needs to get his story straight, and quick, otherwise he's wasting everybody's time.
That was gutsy of him.
Since when was Adam a barrister?
Hasn't he always been a barrister?
I don't think so.
I thought
Imran was a barrister.
I thought
Didi
it
was a barrister.
I thought it was the other way around. That Adam was the barrister, and Imran and Didi were the other thing.
No, Imran represented Yasmin, I think.
Yes, but
I
Adam
don't
has represented people in court before as well,
And
though.
Imran represented Kayla the Chin, I think.
Didn't Imran also represent Abby at one point? And that's one of the reasons why, or was he? Is
It was
Imran
because of the Kayla the Chin thing.
Right.
I think
Yeah,
he ended up knocking boots with Abby.
right.
And Didi, we remember Didi fairly recently being with a wigs on. But I don't remember ever seeing Adam with wigs on, because in the UK, solicitor and barrister are two different things. It's
Right.
not like here where a lawyer...
It's a lawyer.
And
and
there's probably your attorney as well,
right.
and represents you in court.
Right. And I mean, they're civil and criminal lawyers, but you can be a civil lawyer and take on a criminal case if you want to. Like if you have a friend who asks you to represent them in a criminal case, and nobody will care, or some people will probably care, but it's not nearly as complicated as it is over there.
There is a thing called a solicitor advocate, and I presume that that's what Adam is.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think it's ever been mentioned. Either way, what he's doing here in the Rovers is immensely unethical.
Yes.
Because whether you like Megan or not, and most people would hopefully be not,
Correct.
she deserves and is entitled to a defence.
Correct.
And if the defence is going behind her back to say, hey, you need to get your lad up to speed here because this isn't going to cut anything here,
Correct.
isn't really what you would expect from someone that you're paying to get you off the hook here. And all this defence stuff is just testing the case. It ensures that the wheels of justice move smoothly and fairly. That's what a defence attorney provides. I think I've gone on this before, but anyway.
Anyway, it is totally confusing for someone like me who's like, why is there a difference?
I also thought it would be difficult because in the UK, if you have a complaint and you have your solicitor and you tell them the whole case, and the solicitor's all involved in the case and knows everything about it, but then it's handed off to this barrister guy to do all the hard work and all the donkey work in the court.
Yeah.
It's like, well, who's the best person that knows about this? Is it the barrister guy or is it my solicitor?
Right.
But presumably the barrister needs to be well read on the matter.
It's funny because we have a friend who is a lawyer who could probably explain all of this to us, and I don't think we've ever asked him.
I have asked him, and I'm sure that the answer is kind of dull.
Because you don't remember it.
Because I don't remember very much about it, but I do remember the solicitor advocate thing. He told me about that. So anyway, on Wednesday, as Ben's turned in the stand, and he fields some softball questions from his barrister about how Will's personality changed since he moved from Hull, and how it was all Megan's doing. She manipulated him then, and she's manipulating him now, which is why he changed his story yesterday, you see. Adam, in cross-examination, though, pounces on the move from Hull and suggests that this is why Will became distant, because he was forced to move to Weatherfield against his will. Ben
His will.
Ben says it wasn't against his will. Oh, so it was his idea then? Ka-ching. This is why you're paying Adam the big bucks. Ben is struggling from then on. He says it was what Megan did to him that caused it, and Adam reminds Ben that according to Will, Megan didn't do anything to him. And he was like, oh, Adam. Why has Adam been so nasty to Ben? This is...
It's his job.
This is his job.
It's his job.
Ben worries that he's fucked it up, but there's no time to linger because next up is Megan. She's allowed to chat uninterrupted, more or less. She talks about knowing that Will fancied her, but she warned him off. But she worried for Will because his dad, who apparently had a low-level egg-chasing career, insisted on athletic success and failure wasn't an option, and it got to the point that Will would cry after unsuccessful races and admitted to Megan more than once that because of his dad's bullying, he had contemplated taking his own life. And Ben is outraged by this.
Oh my God.
Stands up and yells at Megan that she's a liar.
How dare you?
And he's still protesting as he's led out the public gallery. A gallery in which everyone is talking far too loudly anyway.
Correct.
In the dock, Megan smirks. Back at the pub, Ben is talking to Steve about this and worries if what Megan said was true. Will is on the hunt for crisps and is surprised to see his dad back so soon, so Ben comes out and tells Will what Megan said, and Will is shocked by this and insists that he never felt like that and didn't tell Megan any of this. So Will goes to Papa Tim and bears his soul. He's worried that he's fucked everything up and he needs Papa Tim's advice on how to fix it.
Good old Papa Tim, dad of the neighborhood.
Yep. He's almost as good as Papa Smurf.
Some would say he's better.
On Thursday, I'm not sure how likely this is, but the prosecution, who had closed their case, have asked to reopen it so that Will can take the stand again, and the judge has said, you know what, sure, why not? This is all thanks to Papa Tim and his ability to listen to Will and encouraging him to change his mind following Megan's lies. So Will gives it another go, and this time he's very insistent that the relationship he had with Megan was sexual, and he says that she forced him to tell lies to his family to keep her out of jail. Adam gets up next, and basically he just wants to know why anyone would believe Will's story now after he admitted to lying before. Will keeps his cool and says that he's sick of covering for Megan, and says that she groomed him, abused him, and that's the fucking truth, so help me God. Everyone is super happy with Will for telling the truth, apart from Megan, and her mum looks like she wishes that she'd ignored her agent's call offering a part in Coronation Street.
Yeah, she kind of takes her purse and leaves.
Privately, though, Ben worries either way about what this verdict could do to Will. Will, meanwhile, he's gone for a run around the precinct in his clown shoes again, and I'm not any more convinced that he's a runner now than I ever was before.
No, if anything, he's gotten worse.
I mean, he didn't quite hop round the corner.
No.
Cartoon styley.
But
he almost did.
he runs like our daughter. Which is an ungracious thing to say about my daughter, but she does have a goofy run.
Stella does run like she's pooped herself. Just a little bit. Not a lot of poop, but there is poop.
You're cutting this out, right?
No. No, definitely not. So Megan jumps out to spook him, and she throws him up against a wall, telling him that she only ever felt sorry for him. He's a pathetic little boy, and he's finished. No jury is going to find her guilty, and then she's coming for him. She's 4'2", so this isn't exactly terrifying, but well, shits his unders a wee bit. Have you ever noticed that our Megan frequently has her hands up her sleeves?
Yes.
And I've noticed early doors, she had one of those long-sleeved jumpers or long-sleeved T-shirts that have the little hole
For
in
the
the
fingers?
cuff for your thumb to go through.
Yeah.
She wore that quite a bit, or she wore those quite a bit, and she wore similar long sleeve things when she was in the car with her mum. You could only see her fingertips, and here something similar happens. You don't really see her main hand, you just see her fingers, and it's because she's got hand tattoos. Beth Nixon in real life's got hand tattoos.
You know, she had tattoos.
Mm-hmm. So rather than put makeup on them and try and cover them up, she just hides them wherever possible.
Long sleeves in the summertime.
The nice tattoos.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, have you ever noticed that Megan's accent gets thicker the angrier she is?
Yeah.
She's kind of like you.
And Sam. Sam was so St. Helens this week. And I thought, where did this accent come from? Because it says "cur" instead of "care." "Cur." Said something. It says oddly as well. But anyway.
A little St. Helens slipped out.
Mm-hmm. On Friday, in the pub, Ben and Eve are fretting over the result of the trial, and Ben is worried that the jury taking so long is a bad sign. I think the jury taking long is a bad sign or a good sign, depending on how you feel.
Yeah.
But just at that, he gets a call, and just at that, Argentina score again. And just at that, he gets a call from his barrister that the verdict is in. Will continues to fret about the result, with Ollie being the stand-up big brother that he's always been, and Boise's spirits. And he needn't worry, because we don't fuck around once we're back in the court, and Megan is found guilty as charged.
And she freaks the fuck out.
Of being a fucking nonce. And also, what was the other charge? A charge of having sex with a child, and also from a position of power or a position of trust or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
That was a separate charge.
Was it like endangerment from a person of trust or something like that?
I don't think that. It said like the exact same charge, but just with this.
Right, yeah.
Doing it from a position of trust makes it worse.
I agree to that.
Yeah. And she's sentenced to 5 years off camera. She has a bit of a fit, as you've mentioned, as she's dragged away, calling Will a liar and suggesting that he's a fantasist and she prefers real men, which isn't really a good look. In front of her mum as well. Jeez.
Yeah, her mum is so embarrassed.
So back home, it's up to Ollie to pick up Will, who is still feeling a bit conflicted about all this and the plans that he had with Megan. Ollie tells him this doesn't define him, but it will define her. Meanwhile, Ben and Eva put on their big boy and girl pants and face their public in a bar, and they discover that the world has already moved on and no one really gives much of a shit about Will and Megan, who no one really knew all that well anyway. And that's as far as we get with that this week.
Yes.
So, the verdict that we all wanted.
We got.
How they arrived at that, though, I have no idea.
But it's also like, how was Megan, ever able to get that close to Will again with the phone calls and stuff, but then also like in between where she basically, and in the precinct, throws him against a wall and is shouting at him. Surely there are other people around who know that she's not supposed to be within.
She's not allowed any contact with him.
Right. Or to be anywhere close to him. So you'd think that she would have had to have moved away, or she should have moved away, because they can't be living in the same neighborhood.
I'm still unsure how she managed to get out in the first place, because remember, they remanded her in custody, which is probably what they should have done, to make sure that things like this weren't happening.
Didn't happen, yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't just hold her the whole time. Or that Will didn't say at some point, especially after the whole suicide thing, didn't just come out and say, look, she's been harassing me this whole time and trying to make me feel guilty, which is why I changed my testimony in the first place. Because then that's another charge against her. It's like ignoring a protective order.
Yeah, it's a strange one. And I don't know if there was stuff on the trial that we didn't get to see.
I'm sure there was.
But the only person...
It sounds like an airplane is going to land on our house.
The only people that we saw given evidence were Will twice.
Yeah.
Ben.
And Megan.
And there was talk about some of Megan's pals who basically gave her a character reference.
Right.
But there wasn't really any evidence given. And what I kept on waiting to happen...
Except for hearsay.
Yeah, all of it was, well, this is... I don't even know if it's hearsay. It's me saying that this happened, and then somebody else saying, no, it didn't. For most of the week, I was waiting for Sam to get out of the mental health facility, and he was going to give his evidence, and this was going to be key. Because here we have somebody else who has a story that's backing up Will here.
I'm surprised they didn't get Lauren, who, as you'll recall, also saw suspicious activity going on between Megan and Will.
Right.
Who would also be a good person to testify because she herself was groomed.
And where was Daniel's evidence?
Right.
Such as it was.
Right. Or anybody's. I'm surprised that they didn't, like, drag that Lee kid in. And then remember, Kit told Leanne and Eva and Toya that some more evidence had come in.
Yep.
And then we never hear about that again.
Right.
What was that evidence? What was that smoking gun that supposedly Kit had that is never mentioned again?
It's so...
Did we hallucinate that?
No, it definitely happened. It's so... It feels just so incomplete. And we have the feel of a fairly long trial because it went on all week, more or less. But nothing really happened in it. And I'm glad that Megan's going to jail. I'm glad that she's going for 5 years. Or
they couldn't not send her to jail.
They couldn't
that
not,
would have
but-
been a bad look.
But they could have let her off, and then she eventually goes to jail. There's an appeal or whatever. She said that she's going to appeal. She
Who
probably
cares?
should, but
Yeah.
it's going to have nothing to do with...
Or, you know,
Adam.
they would have gotten more evidence because, you know, somebody would have seen or heard something. Somebody would have, like that time Tim almost accidentally discovered them.
Yeah, they set it up so that there could be more stuff presented to the court, particularly from Sam. But the way that they've handled it, because the footage went missing or was deleted.
Right, and their big shot tech guy couldn't recover it.
Right. You know, maybe there was a good argument for the big tech guy actually being successful here, or Sam
For
saying
once.
something, or Lee turning up and giving his evidence.
Right. Instead of, you know, saying, no, nothing ever happened. Leave me alone.
Like I said, super happy that Megan's been found guilty. She played the evil character very well.
Yes.
I just wish that the case had been a little bit more compelling and had made a bit more sense.
Yes, I agree.
All right then, we'll move on to our next storyline. Theo No Pulse. On Tuesday, Mother of the Year Sarah is severely hungover as Kurt reminds her that today is Harry's Wizard of Oz performance as the Tin Man, and he's genuinely worried that she'll vomit during it, much like Brian did.
Much like Brian did, yes.
All over the school governors
Yes.
at the Bessie Street Nativity play.
Yes.
Of course, we don't get to see any of this performance because they'd have to get license agreements for all the songs, and that's not going to happen, Helen.
Well, it hasn't been long enough
No.
for it to be fair use for the songs. The actual story, yes, but the songs, no.
But the costume Jodie made isn't nearly as impressive as it initially looked last week. Harry is in a silver onesie with a foil hat and axe, and with a foil food tray stuck on his chest. And for some reason, the play's over, but he's still wearing the Tin Man outfit.
Well, the play is over and he's still wearing face paint. That's the part that's hilarious. And they're going to go out to eat with him with face paint
Yep.
in his costume.
And the waiter's going to go, is that wee boy all right? Does he think he's a robot?
It's like that one time my family and I were out eating dinner at this restaurant. I can't remember the name of it. It was something B. And there was a family of clowns there eating dinner.
Wait. A family of clowns?
Yes.
Daddy clown, mummy clown,
And child clown, yes. Eating dinner.
were they just honking at each other?
At the B restaurant. They weren't talking at all. They were eating.
So they were mime clowns.
Or, they weren't rude clowns.
Did they offer anyone to take a sniff of their flower?
No. Everybody more or less left them alone. But it was just so weird.
That's nice.
Family of clowns.
Is that diversity in action? I think it might be.
I can't remember. I was so mad that I can't remember the name of the restaurant. It was like Claraby or something. But yes, this actually happened to me when I was a child.
And if Ben ends up telling the story in a few weeks' time, I'm going to come down on him like a fucking ton of bricks on this podcast. I'm going to tear him limb from limb.
Yes. Because then he's stealing from me. It's one thing when he steals from you.
Right. So anyway, afterwards, Kit and Harry go for burgers, but Sarah claims a headache and leaves them to it. In reality, though, she spotted Jodie and wants a word with her in the house. But would you believe it? As she's talking about this, Swain rolls up and she wants a word with Sarah. Everyone wants a word with someone else. It's a dreadful decision by Sarah, though, to have her conversation in number 8 in front of Jodie, because Swain is keen to get Sarah to go over her statement about her attack.
Right, and this is something that I don't understand, that Swain is perfectly okay to go into David's house to have this conversation with Jodie in attendance.
Mm-hmm. With Sarah, who doesn't live there.
With Sarah, who doesn't live there, and who also was attacked there, so might have feelings, traumatic feelings about the fact that they're there.
So done for plot.
Yeah, it's so Jodie can hear this.
Yep. Jodie is shifty as fuck while Sarah goes through her statement again, but then Sarah confirms that the attack happened at 9:10, which makes Jodie go, huh? After Swain leaves, Sarah wants to talk to Jodie about the attack, but Jodie points out that her attack didn't happen at 9:10, as she keeps on saying to the police, apparently, because the 9:10 time jives with the first time that she gave.
I know.
It happened at 9:30, says Jodie. And
How
she
do you
wonders
know
why
that?
Sarah's lying about this and what she's hiding.
I know this is not important to what we were doing, but I just want to say for the record, the restaurant was called BB Dairy.
Excellent.
Thank you. It was in Groton.
Clowns welcome.
Actually, in Waterford. It was like across the street from the Crystal Mall. Remember the Crystal Mall?
No.
It's not there anymore.
As Sarah hurries out, Jodie promises to find out what Sarah's hiding. So Sarah runs off and tells Gary that Jodie was the one So Sarah tells Gary that Jodie was the one who twatted her over the head and suspects her of being involved in Theo's death. That's Sarah suspects. No, that's Jodie suspects Sarah of being involved in Theo's death. But Gary really doesn't want to be seen with Sarah right now and tells her just to fix
Yeah,
it.
it's just he's like, why are you doing this to me? Leave me alone.
So Sarah goes to speak to Jodie again, and there's a bit of back and forth between them. Sarah wonders if the police would be interested in the contents of Jodie's trinket box. But Jodie denies it even exists, but then says, well, what was in it then? And Sarah foolishly admits that she can't remember. This is mutual assured destruction. Neither of them can go to the cops, or they'll end up in the shit themselves. Congratulations to Argentina. On Wednesday, Sarah breezes into Nina's Rolls for a coffee and is shocked to see Jodie serving behind the counter standing in for Shona. Sarah panics a bit, decides that she forgot why she came in the first place and quickly leaves. David's there and wonders what the fuck this is all about with his sister, so despite not working at the factory, he wanders into the factory and into Sarah's office to quiz her on what's going on between her and Jodie. 1 minute, Jodie's her new BFF, and the next, she's literally running away from her. What gives? Sarah insists that there's nothing wrong, and she doesn't know what David's babbling on about, and then she answers a phone that wasn't ringing.
You know what confuses me about all of this? Kit doesn't seem all that mad about the possibility of Sarah and Gary having an affair. There's like... Maria, of course, is very angry and demands answers about all of this. Whereas Kit goes to see Harry's stupid Wizard of Oz play. You know?
Well, this was all handled last week in a throwaway line.
Right, which doesn't make any sense. The throwaway line doesn't make any sense. The fact that he doesn't seem bothered at all by this possibility.
Just a reminder to anyone else, Gary says to Sarah last week, does Kit think that we're having an affair? And Sarah says no. Right,
yeah. And that doesn't make sense. That Kit is not suspicious at all that something may be going on. Not just that they may be having an affair, but that Sarah is spending far too much time with Gary for some reason.
Right. On Thursday...
It's not really fair to Gary.
No, none of this is fair to Gary. No. So on Thursday, David meets Kit in the pub and tells him about how he's worried about Sarah and how weird her relationship is with Jodie. Kit admits that he's been wrapped up in work lately and promises to keep an eye on her. So despite not working at the factory either, Kit heads to the factory and insists on dragging a very busy Sarah away from her responsibilities to take her out to dinner.
Right? How offensive was that? It was like, no, she's like, no, well, thank you, but I'm busy. And he's like, no,
too bad.
Too bad. Get your ass out of here. It's like when we were having our anniversary dinner earlier, the table sitting next to us, the man ordered his partner's drink and appetizer for her. And I'm like, it's 2026. I think women can order their own food now.
Wow. Maybe she doesn't want to, though.
Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to say, oh, and I will have a glass of Merlot, please? Instead of him saying, she'll have a glass of Merlot. That just...
And I'll have the fucking bottle.
No, actually, he ordered the other mocktail, the one we didn't get, the cherry bomb.
Huh? Oh, well, he's not all bad then. Sarah relents but wonders what brought this on, and when Kit mentions that David is worried about her and whatever's going on with Jodie, Sarah reacts very badly to this and tells Kit that he can shove his fancy dinner up his arse.
Right!
Up his arse! That's as far as we get with that this week. Yeah, it's a little weird that after the heat and light that was thrown on Sarah and Gary last week, that
Kit is so chill.
One Kit isn't concerned about it or doesn't seem to be anywhere near his mate. He just says he's busy with work. And we don't find out where Maria's at in all this. I presume Gary's back to living in the flat with her.
I think he's sleeping on the couch, though.
But I think it would have been kind of good to have a little scene of that just to show us what's happening from Gary's point of view here. It's like we've built up to the big dinner party.
Disney World?
No, we built up to the big dinner party, and now we've done that. We can move on. We don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right? Yes.
It's like, no, we can't. We need to.
No, we need
the human aspect of this to be coming through.
Right? Yes.
How are people dealing with this information or these suspicions?
Why is Kit so cool? He's cool as a cucumber about all of this. Doesn't make any sense.
Unless, and I don't think this is an unless that really worked last week, and it probably doesn't work this week either, or probably doesn't work well, unless he knows. Unless his suspicion is that either Sarah killed Theo and Gary's covering for her, or vice versa.
Right.
That there is no...
But you would think that he would be very angry if he suspected Sarah was covering for Gary.
You'd think he would have a question or two.
Yeah.
And you'd think that we'd get to hear it.
Right.
You'd think that you'd have a question or two after Sarah ran out of the dinner party to chase after Gary.
Right, yes.
Leaving him with fucking Todd and Summer.
Right. picking up bloody glass. It doesn't... And I mean, we've seen Kit get angry.
Yeah.
We know he can do it.
This is all... I mean, we get some progression because we know that it's Jodie and Sarah knows that it's Jodie. And Jodie has probably quite strong inklings that Sarah was involved in Theo's death. And there's a mention of the trinket box and stuff. But all of this is still very reminiscent of a couple of weeks ago when Sarah was not herself, according to everyone, because she was so worried about the weight of Theo's death on her shoulders. So we're just kind of dragging out a little bit more.
But hey, look at Sarah, clever clogs, figuring out that the reason why Jodie clocked her over the head was because of the trinket box.
I don't remember her seeing it. And it was bloody dark.
She was looking in it when Jodie knocked her over the head. She was like, oh, what is this? Bonk.
That's Brian's book. That's
Brian's?
That's a picture of Bernie's face. What now?
Which is still like the weirdest thing I think Jodie has ever taken is Bernie's face.
And probably Swain's badges in there.
That's right.
Hopefully a bit more about this next week. We need some more developments from it. Still nothing happening on the Emmerdale side between Graham mentioning Jodie, as far as I can tell. Much to my dismay. Graham is a fantastic character, though. Alright, our next storyline, just from Tuesday here, Helen, just a few scenes of Summer's bereavement dividend, and all of it happens in the bistro.
Yeah.
So in the bistro, Summer is doing her best to spend all of Billy's money on cocktails for strangers as she orders 3 sex on the beach. Or is that sexies on the beach? Or sex on the beaches? She's invited the young team out because she's got VIP tickets for some nightclub thanks to her dodgy new mates. There's still tickets that she has to buy. What?
No, I'm thinking of Winston Churchill.
Oh, we will have sex on the beach?
Yes.
We will never surrender. We'll have sex on the landing grounds and in the air.
And on the beaches.
And now, Iron Maiden. Yeah, she's still got to buy the
Winston
tickets,
Churchill.
but she's been given the opportunity to buy tickets by her new mates. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
But when Summer nips off for a shite, the new mates do a runner and leave Summer to pick up the bill.
Yeah.
Nina and Amy and Asha, who have been arguing whether it's Sex in the City or Sex and the City. It's Sex and the City, isn't it?
No, it's Sex in the City. You do not trust me?
No, and I'm right not to trust you. Because it is Sex and the City.
Oh, no, you're right. It is Sex in the City. Why was I thinking
Where
Sex in...
is my wah wah oops noise? That'll have to do. Anyway, they're all there to console her and tell her what she's worth and perform a mini sort of down low intervention, warning her that she's been burning the candle at both ends quite a bit here.
Wait, doesn't the intervention come at the brunch on the next day with Mary?
All of this is a slight intervention because they're telling her not to spend all her money and not to be going out with her,
I appreciate
with
how...
these crazy people.
I appreciate how polite all of these young women are to Mary.
Yeah,
who
'cause
just like
she just
plops
shows up.
herself down.
Nobody
and-
invites her over.
No.
Summer decides that she might as well have welcome tattooed on her forehead. She's been the statue for far too long. It's time she was the fucking pigeon, which means that Summer is going to be shitting over an awful lot of things to come.
Yes. Hopefully, including a traffic cone.
The next day we're back at the fucking bistro again as Amy has invited everyone to brunch and keeps on saying brunch. Mary joins them, no one knows why, but then Summer spots Asha's old work colleague Sienna come in.
Yes.
Amy remarks that Sienna is wearing green canvas trousers. Sienna was there to meet someone on a date, but she's been stood up by the looks of things, so she goes to the bar for a drink, and the young team all encourage Asha to cut this other woman's grass. Asha plays with her hair for a bit, and then goes over to speak to Sienna. And she invites Sienna to join the young crew, but Sienna wonders if
And
maybe
Mary.
Asha would prefer to join her. You'd better fucking believe it, says Asha. And she dumps her pals without a second thought. And that's
And
as
they're
far as we get
okay
with
with that. They're okay with that.
Yeah, these are. I do think that they, generally speaking, write the young team pretty well.
Yeah, it has had its moments.
I like the bants.
It has had its moments where we're watching it. And I think this is the case more for like the younger, like Betsy is constantly saying things that were like, no teenager would say that.
No.
Betsy
that happens quite a bit.
and Dylan and Sam and even Hope sometimes. The language that they use is like so far away from Gen Z as to be laughable. But these slightly older girls, I think they do quite well.
Yeah, I normally feel like I could listen to them chat away quite a bit. And they have so much shared history together that it's always quite fun to hear. And when Mary shows up, Mary reminds us all that she used to look after Asha, and she used to make Asha her wee snacks and stuff like that. And that's a nice
Pack her lunches.
That's a nice wee memory.
Yes.
So we know that Nina has already left the show. So she's probably got less than 3 months, maybe even less than 2 months to go before her character departs. I wonder if this is part of that storyline.
I think she's departing in August.
But it was nice to see her, I think, be supportive of Asha's new, old kind of relationship development. When we heard that Nina and Asha were going to move in together, I thought, well, this is going to be causing some jealousy from one of them.
Right.
Probably Nina. But as it turns out, everything's good in the hood.
Yes.
All right, our penultimate storyline tonight is Tyrone's special surprise. But not like that.
No.
Not an awful lot to this either. Tyrone has been dogging work because he's just not feeling it, and Fizz assumes this is because of the Carl situation, and she's now of the opinion that all of that was just an accident. No one cares about Carl, and Tyrone should put it behind him.
It's true, nobody cares about Carl.
No, but Fizz was making an awful song and dance about all this just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Both of them should be at work right now, so when Hope and Ruby come in, they're mid-conversation about some scheme involving crisps that they're hatching. Fizz confronts him about this and Hope denies anything while Ruby insists maybe this is something good. Later, Cassie's looking after the two of them and she catches wind that something is afoot. Ruby says that it's nice and it's for Tyrone and for Cassie too, which is a little surprising. But Hope refuses to spill any more information than that, and Cassie can just wind her fucking neck in.
Yes.
And that's as far as we get with that.
Yes, this will be a whole ass story next week.
I imagine something is going to backfire on somebody because it's a hoped scheme.
It is something nice. But yes.
Excellent. How much taller is Ruby than Hope?
I know, it's hilarious.
And it's a gap that's only growing.
Yes.
I like the two of them.
I bet they wish they had old Ruby back.
Oh, poor Ruby. She had no kidneys left. Poor Ruby.
Poor Ruby.
Tyrone was hilarious on the couch, though. He looked, at some points, quite dead.
Yes, he did. But it was kind of funny, just... Why are you guys home? I don't know, why are you guys home?
Tyrone, why are you on the couch and refusing to move an inch?
He's depressed.
Poor Tyrone. Alright, our last storyline this week then is Sam's Shite Club. On Tuesday, Sam has been progressing well on these new meds to the point where his doctor reckons that he could be discharged at the end of the week. Sam is excited that he might be able to catch some of Megan's trial, as he thinks that will give him the closure that he needs, but Nick and Toya are both very much against letting him go, even if he is discharged in time. Toya attends the trial and gives Nick the gist of how it's going, which is badly at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Nick cries at the thought of telling Sam this, as he's scared Megan will come after him if she gets off, but not like that. So Nick decides to lie, and he ends up roping Toya into his lies when she gets back to the hospital. And she doesn't look too happy about this.
No, yes, because she's left to imagine answers to Sam's very specific questions.
Yes. He says, I understand that the judge adjourned the trial. Tell me more.
Yes. What
for fuck's sake.
was so-and-so's statement? How did they start this?
What were their opening remarks?
Right, yeah. Very, very specific questions that she cannot give the actual answers to and must make something up on the fly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah,
Thanks a
'cause
lot.
She doesn't even know what Nick said at this point.
Right.
So anything that she says might contradict whatever lie Nick's told.
Right.
But when she comes in, he's like, "Oh no, it's all. I've told him everything's going well. Oh, you have you? Mm-hmm. Fucking hell." On Wednesday, this kind of splits into two at this point, and later on it's going to split into three.
Yes.
So on Wednesday, Leanne promises Nick that she'll stop in and see Sam, who seems to be improving. But as soon as she leaves near the Rolls, she runs into Idris, who asks her out to the Rovers for lunch. Once there, Idris decides to spoil Leanne with a pamper session at the spa at the Rape Hotel, and after that, he suggests that they literally get a room so they can get their hole in private. So in his dressing gown...
Yeah, it's bad form to get your hole in the spa.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they have to change the water.
Right.
Idris goes to the desk to speak to Ryan about the procurement of a room, and Ryan is oddly cautious about this and admits that Leanne is a friend and she's had a hard time of it lately and he doesn't want to see her get hurt.
And also, he has also had sex with her. He doesn't mention this,
He
but...
doesn't, and I'm only a little surprised by that because he's such a chatty Cathy. Idris calls Ryan jelly, tells him to mind his own fucking business, and demands his room, thank you very much, and Ryan complies because he must realise how stupid all of this sounds. I can't give you a room with this woman because, you know, maybe she's not emotionally stable and ready to have a sexual relationship with you, pal.
Yeah.
So while all this is going on, Nick brings Hope along to the hospital to distract Sam for 5 minutes while he gets some Nick time. Hope wants to talk to Sam about something that she and Ruby are doing for Tyrone in another storyline, but Sam interrupts and demands to know what's going on in the trial. The last he heard, it was adjourned yesterday and he wants all the goss. Hope looks uneasy, but eventually spills. So when light-footed Nick floats back into the room later with Toya, Sam is fucking furious
Yes.
that they have, yet again, lied to him. Nick weeps and says that he wanted to speak to the psychiatrist first before dropping the bombshell from the trial that Will has recanted his story. And if we're being honest, it looks like Megan's going to get off, but not like that. Sam curses Nick and Toya at his own feelings of uselessness and all this, while Hope sneaks out of the room and hopes no one notices.
Haha. Hope hopes.
Hope, no, double hope. Triple hope. So on Thursday, Sam is still pissed off and sitting on the floor, and in an attempt to reconnect with the lad, Nick makes a bold decision at his age to sit down on the floor next to him, and it takes him literally 9 seconds to go from standing to sitting on the floor, and there are a few installments along the way. Good job by the sound team to cover up all the creaks and cracks there.
Yes.
There's it on, and Nick going, oh, oh. This effort goes to waste though, as Sam is not impressed and explains that he's sick of everyone lying to him, people like Nick and Toya, but also Leanne, who promised that she would visit yesterday and obviously couldn't be fucking bothered. Meanwhile, Leanne is getting her hole with Idris in the Rape Hotel.
Again!
And he's gone to the bother of booking them in for another night.
What?
But they'll
This man is insatiable.
But they'll have to ensure that they keep up on their fluid intake. Drink milk. Leanne is super relaxed as she nips off for a shite, and as soon as she's out of the room, her phone goes off, and it's Toya. So Idris dingies the call and puts the phone on silent. Later, Leanne and Idris are about to get at it again when there's a knock at the door, and it's Toya. So I wasn't expecting to see you here. She apparently got a heads up from Ryan on where Leanne was, and she shames her sister for standing up Sam. Toya stomps off in a self-righteous huff while Leanne checks her phone, sees the missed calls, and then discovers that the phone's on silent, which she never does because there is something fundamentally wrong with her. Idris fesses up, which I didn't expect.
Because she knows that in her family, something could possibly go very, very wrong at any moment.
Yes. I didn't expect Idris to fess up, and Leanne warns him not to screen her calls or tell her what she can do. She heads to the hospital where Sam is pleased to see her and pleased to hear about developments in the Will storyline, but he has some bad news. This outburst that he had this week has meant that there is now fuck all chance that he'll be getting out, and he warns everyone he's about to go one flew over the cuckoo's nest on all their asses. And he slams his wee book shut to prove it.
Yes.
On Friday, we need a third storyline in this storyline. But first up, Leanne is dinging in Idris's calls, and she tells Alia that he owes her an apology. And rather red flaggy, Alia announces that Idris, he's really not the sort of guy who says sorry.
Yeah.
In Nina's
It's
roles,
not his thing.
Leanne overhears Abby having the devil's own time getting a hold of her landlord, who she describes as a ghost of a ghost. The flat is damp and there's a funny smell. Leanne suggests tracking down the landlord and camping outside their house or simply stopping paying rent, but Abby would prefer not to be evicted.
Right, and also she doesn't know who that is.
Well, she's paying money to somebody, so she can
Right.
just stop paying that.
Right.
Then Leanne meets Nick, who asks Leanne to put in a good word for him at the hospital, and to her credit, Leanne does just that. She's not in Sam's cunt books at the moment, so she explains that Nick was only trying to protect him from having another episode, and the situation was changing all the time at the trial anyway, so there wasn't really much hard and fast information to share. Sam thinks this is actually a fair point, and Leanne is super proud. When Nick visits later, Sam is friendly again and forgiving and agrees that he's not ready to go home yet. A speed dial, Leanne takes possession of a beautiful bouquet of flowers and then meets
From
with
Mary, who is
Idris.
chuffed to bring them.
Yeah. She explains how important Sam is to her, given that Simon is Simon is on a boat with Peter somewhere and Oliver is dead. Idris didn't appreciate how important Sam was to her and how much he needed her at the moment, and he apologises for what he did. And then his phone rings, and as he answers it, Ambi comes in, and she's on the other side. "You're my fucking scummy landlord," she shouts as Idris and Leanne look at each other baffled. We don't see how the rest of that conversation went. Instead, we skip to Alfie's bedtime. He's got a hacking cough that Abby's doing her best to drown out, and she reads a story, but she has to concede that he's going to need to go to the doctor. And then we see under Alfie's bed, and it's all mouldy and cheesy. And maybe this is what the problem is with poor wee Alfie's respiratory system.
Right, yeah. Abby, leans under the bed to get his teddy bear and hands him the teddy bear. And, the whole wall under his bed is black.
Yes.
It's a lot of mold. It's so much mold. You wonder how she didn't notice it when they put Alfie's bed there.
Right. Yeah, it
And-
looks like it's been there for a while.
Why she doesn't notice it, when she picks things up from underneath his bed, like the teddy bear. That's a lot of mold. And also, it's weird that it's only there and hasn't crept further up the wall
And
to above the bed.
and follow your nose. If there's a funny smell, follow your nose. Find out where that smell's coming from.
And here's the funny thing. Black mold doesn't really have a smell.
I think it's the dampness that she smells.
Right,
isn't it?
yes.
So, I'm all for this new story that's suddenly been
Yeah.
plopped
I
into
mean,
us. It's a good...
I would prefer it not to be Abby and Alfie. But,
Well, it does spark the possibility that we're going to have Abby moving back in with Kev for a while. And then where could that possibly go?
nowhere I want to revisit.
It might give us a few more Abbeys to add to my collection, which I've been missing for the past 6 months. But this is a good story about not a whodunit and not about people being sexually assaulted, and it's a story that probably is quite a prevalent and salient point to have about landlords who don't take care of the property that people are paying good money for.
Well, it will give me lots of opportunities to talk about terrible landlords I've had in the past.
So this, on the surface of it, seems quite quite interesting.
Yeah, I guess.
And Idris has already been set up as a bit of a villain of the piece here.
A slumlord.
Yeah. The bit that's confusing me about it, though, is...
That nobody ever noticed it's black mold before?
No.
Because there's a lot of it?
No.
A lot of
no,
it.
But I will absolutely concede that. But what really confuses me is... Did Idris have this rent? He's renting out... He owns the precinct flats, then?
He owns them now. Remember, the reason why he moved here is because he's bought some property here. So he hasn't owned them for a long time.
Gotcha. So
He's
maybe
just
he doesn't know
basically-
about this.
You really think that he doesn't know that there's mold in the property that he bought? You don't think that this property was inspected before he bought it? It's weird that it never bothered Lauren.
I think it can be possible that Idris is a good guy in a bad situation here. Because the way that he's treating other people, other than, what was his face?
Damo.
We've never mentioned a guy who's been in the show less than Damo as much as we've mentioned him.
Poor Damo.
He's been in 2 scenes, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Is he coming back?
He had more scenes when he was a baby Simon.
I'm not even sure if we're going to ever see him again. But, you know, apart from the way that he dealt with him, and you know, and it, yeah, I'm backtracking as I'm remembering things, but the business that he got Brody involved in seemed to be pretty dodgy.
Right. And
He's dodgy with Damo.
silencing Leanne's phone was a bit dodgy. It's not for him to do.
Oh, it's not for him to do at all. But he did the thing that Alia said that he wouldn't do.
You mean apologize?
And he apologised.
That's because sex with Leanne is that good.
So it seems.
Think about all the people who have had sex with Leanne.
Oh, do I have to right now?
Ryan, Steve,
Oh, I made him
Nick.
so chatty. Nick. Oh, dear. I'd rather
Peter.
not think about that.
Peter. Who else? People who are no longer on the show, I'm assuming.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's part of me that is keen to give him the benefit of the doubt, but the more I'm thinking about it, the more difficult that is to do. He's either a wrong-un with... Can he be a wrong-un with a heart of gold? He can be a wrong-un who treats his woman well until he doesn't.
Right, yeah. Like a crime boss.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tony Soprano.
Tony Soprano.
He's the Tony Soprano of Coronation Street.
Oh, dear. But yeah, all that kind of congealed into the one storyline. You've got Sam, who is suffering from setbacks in his recovery and his... and that's, I think, a correct direction for the story to take, because you know these things are difficult and you don't want to show it as being far too easy. So that was good. And then his realisation that he's not well enough to go home yet was good as well. So good stuff. And plus he shouted quite a bit in Nick, and I enjoy that a lot. It was fun seeing Nick trying to sit down on the floor. I'm just a little bit disappointed that we didn't get a chance to see him attempting to stand back up again. Maybe next week. So that side of it was decent as well. I still maintain, though, that this was the missing part from the Megan trial, was Sam's involvement in it. But the way that they've timed this and the way that they've made this a thing didn't really lend itself to it. Are you buying that Megan's threats on Sam were what triggered all this?
Well, no. I mean, yes and no. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I know that schizophrenia tends to show up around this time in a person's life, in adolescence. And it does also tend to show up triggered by some sort of trauma. So I do, there is part of me that buys that the whole Megan threatening him could be part of that. But I also think that him being so hard on himself was also a trigger, about school and stuff.
Yeah.
And the way that he was acting in very un-Sam-like ways, it all kind of rolls together because obviously he was a little too young when his mom was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not had an easy life, our Sam.
It hasn't. I feel though that they've mucked around with the elements of that story a little bit too much for me. I felt it was a very confusing story, and the outcome of it. They had the chance to say that it was the overdose of the ADHD drugs, which can cause things like this to happen.
It can cause hallucinations, but not schizophrenia.
But not schizophrenia. But at that point, schizophrenia hadn't been diagnosed. And it
Right.
seemed that they maybe just missed a trick, just going with a drug abuse angle. But oh well.
They wanted to go with a schizophrenia
They
angle.
did. They did indeed. Oh well, that was the week that was Coronation Street. And we've rattled through this in fairly short order.
Yes.
What was your moment of the week?
Megan being found guilty.
Yeah, it's got to be real, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still... do I have to say it again? I'm still a little unsatisfied at the method that they
Right.
got there.
Yeah, it kind of felt like they're like, well, we have to find her guilty, so it doesn't really matter how we get there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to make it tough. We just have to do it, I guess.
Yeah, she's basically guilty because Will said so.
Right, which is fine.
And that's our...
Moment of the week.
Moment of the week.
Your boring moment of the week.
Whatever it was that Tim and Steve were talking about in the cab office before they decided to go over and see how Ben's doing.
Oh, I managed to just
Yeah, it was so...
erase all that.
It was so dull. Like, Steve's like, what are you thinking about, Tim? And Tim says something that is so weird. I can't remember what it was, but it was weird and kind of boring. And Steve's like, really? That's what you're thinking about when I'm talking about how my, half brother is going through all of this stuff? And Tim's like, well, you asked.
There was a few time fillers this week. We got quite a few of that because we learned that Izzy had a fella last week. Izzy had a fella over. And then they stopped talking about it.
But that was nice. I like that. I like that Izzy has a
that's
fella.
fine, but there was...
And I like the fact that, Sean is talking about, us poor, in the trenches. We'll get there someday, Izzy. And Izzy's like, well, actually, I've already gotten there. Thank you very much for assuming that I can't catch a fella.
A few storylines that didn't belong, or a few scenes that didn't belong in any storyline and really did just serve to make up the 22 minutes because we didn't have anything else to talk about at the trial, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
But it was just, like I said, the thing that Tim said that I can't remember was so boring that I can't remember it.
And that is as good a reason as any to award it.
For a moment of the week.
Does make it kind of difficult for me to summarise that on my spreadsheet, though.
You're fine. Tim says something boring. Tim has boring thoughts.
Yeah, that works.
There you go.
We don't ask Twitter anymore what they thought of last week's episodes.
Because they're all fascists.
So, Helen, tell me. Your score out of 10 for this week, please.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It was all right. Megan got sent down. That makes me happy. 6.5?
Yeah, I was thinking 7.
Yeah.
It's a decent enough week.
Yeah, it's all right. It wasn't fantastic, but, it didn't make me too angry. So
No, and that was really the main worry when you hadn't watched any of the episodes until today because you thought it was going to make you angry.
Right, yes.
And if you hadn't watched the whole week in one go, and if you hadn't watched Friday before Thursday, maybe it would have made you angry. But all's well that ends well, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why YouTube did it. It was trying to spare my feelings.
Yeah, it's nice that. It's nice
Yeah.
like that. All right, let's wrap this one up then. This episode was brought to you with thanks to our friends of the podcast: Daisy, French Helen, Pickles, DT, Wendy, Noel, Canadian Helen, Christy, Shandy, English Victoria, Aurora Yvonne, Heather Westerfield, Brittany Porter, Laurie Anna, Tina, Leah, Tara, Jay, Fiona B, Canadian Jennifer, Josephino Tingy, Anne Greenwood, Trish R, Sarah Purbrick, Hunker Munker, Darren, the artist formerly known as Seal My Fridge, Pamela, Marge JT, Tom Ambrose, Christopher Anstey, Terry in LA, Joe T, Corey Dales, Matthew McInerney, Welsh Emma, Matthew S, Rachel B, Uranium Jennifer, Kathleen Monchero, Gary Heatley, Pam but not that one, Una, Amy, Jenny Roll, Aussie Ali,
Wait.
Chris Horrocks, Cameron from Edmonton, Matt Birch, Library Jen, Jack the Marner, David MacArthur, Saskatchewanian Karina, Rebecca, Rupert Danes and Jem. Thank you ever so much, folks, for your friendship of the podcast.
Yes.
It's very much appreciated.
It is.
If you've ever suddenly become a barrister overnight, write in to tell us about it. We're the talk of the street at gmail.com, and we're at Corrie Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky, or you can reach us the old-fashioned way, the talk of the street, PO Box 12, Eaton Rapids, Michigan 48827. Our spoiler show will be available shortly after this one, and in this month's classics we're talking about episode 1434. Get access to this exclusive content by becoming a friend of the podcast. Find all the links at corriepodcast.com, and be sure to check out our pop culture sister podcast, The List of Lists.
Supergirl was fine, actually, but read the book. It's still better.
Thanks for making it to the end of another episode, and we will be back next week with more
Talk of the Street.
The Talk of the Street, folks.
Bye.
Cheerio.